Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Purls and Pyrs podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a fly buzzing around. Anyway, so to new viewers, thank you so much for checking me out, and to returning viewers, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So I did 2 parts on my current whips, and I realized I could just be doing this forever, and maybe that's not super interesting for people. So yeah, let me know if you actually want to see more of my whips. I'm happy to show you, but in the interest of everybody's time and attention, I thought I would just go back to a regular format-ish podcast for this week, so I could show what I've been working on and yeah, just talk a little bit about life stuff. So I feel like I shared my socks, which would have been my only finished object. I've not finished anything knitting related in a while. Those socks were the last thing, and they were 2 weeks ago or so. Excuse me. So nothing on the FO's front. I have mainly been working on my early light pullover. I feel like you're getting a little crooked. Which is a design by Samantha Guerin of Samantha Guerin Designs. And I've also been working on my Warm Breeze cardigan. However, I don't have that one in this room to show you. And it probably wouldn't look all that different from when I showed it last time. I'm just trying to do a couple of rows every day, just so I'm making steady progress forward, because it is lace weight and it's going to take forever to finish. Yeah. So today is July 23rd, 2026. And yeah, I think we've got a nice little timestamp there. So let's share what we've been doing. My lighting's going to be kind of crappy for this, because it's probably not going to show any of the detail at all. It sort of looks like a tangled mess, but now that I've separated for the sleeves, it is a little better. So I'm knitting this out of Sinful Yarns in the colorway We Don't Eat Our Allies. So it is, yeah, a rainbow or a multicolored tweed with matching sparkle. Angelina, as it's called, instead of Stellina. So I think Angelina is the name for the multicolored sparkles. So there are pink, blue, and gold sparkles in this yarn. So this pattern, which like I said is Early Light by Samantha Guerin, I did not test knit this sweater, although I tried to sign up, but that is fine. So it has lace, and then it's got cables, which is the first time I've knit something from Samantha that has cables on it. So kind of interspersed with the lace. Let's see if I can get my hand behind it so you can kind of, I love the dog hair. It shows up so well on this black background. Okay, so there you can see, like, it's got these little peaks of lace, and then between the little peaks of lace there is a cable motif. So I tried it on last night, and it fits really nicely. So far I've knit to pattern. I'm knitting the size 3. I went back and I picked up and knit the neckline so that I could see how it was going to lay and how long I actually needed to knit it. One thing I will say is I feel like it's pulling up a little bit right now. However, I plan to knit the long sleeves anyway, so that will counteract, you know, it's going to pull it this way because I'm going to have cuffs and the length of the sleeves and, you know, the full length of the body. So I don't anticipate that being an issue, and I think once I'm blocking it, it's going to relax on doing that. But yeah, when I gave it a little bit of tension, it looked really nice. I'm knitting it with negative ease. It's a size 40-inch bust is what the 3 is supposed to be, so it will stretch to fit me. But like I said, it's really hard to show a black sweater. But it is black. It's kind of a charcoal with those Tweety Flex and the Angelina. So I really like it. I have done one set of waist decreases. When I tried it on, I was just at the fullest part of my bust, so I did another 1/2 inch, and then I did my first waist decrease. I think I'm going to work them every like 16 rows or so. I'm not going to do a ton of waist shaping because this is already pretty fitted because of the cables, and this yarn is not as stretchy, I would say, as a traditional merino, maybe because it has such a high Angelina content. Let me see. There's the label, Simple Yarn, and we don't eat our allies, which is a Fourth Wing reference. So it is fingering weight 92% superwash merino, 8% polyester Angelina sparkle. So I guess a 75-25 would be the normal blend. So that's actually quite a lot of superwash merino and very small amount of the polyester and Angelina. And it doesn't say anything about the tweed. Normally it has like Donegal neps or something in it, and it doesn't say, it doesn't call that out. Yeah, so I have used this much of my first cake, and I'm alternating skeins now, but I knit my full yoke with only one cake of yarn because I didn't want to be alternating skeins when I was doing the cabling. So I didn't. And it's fine. It's not a problem at all. Let me clear this out a little bit. Okay. The second thing is a new cast on, and this ball of yarn is destroyed. Problem. I'm gonna need to fix this. Okay. So this one is a yarn I got from my friend Sue when we did an Advent swap with one another, and it is a Turtle Pearl yarns sock set. I think it's called Turtle Toes is the base or whatever that they use. Sorry, there's not. I have a Pyrs sighting. Anyway, I think the actual colorway is called Mistletoe Kisses. I think. So that's what the ball looks like. I have two identical ones because the idea is you should be able to knit identical socks. And I decided I wanted to do a pattern, not a very, involved pattern, but I just didn't want it to be stuck in that. So I did a blueberry waffle. Oh, you can see how it's laying down in the background. So these are blueberry waffle socks. And this little melting snowman cookie. I don't remember who I got it from. I want to say it was Little Bitty Delights. But it doesn't seem like her style. Could have been Sucre Miniatures. It seems a little bit more like Chelsea's style because she does a lot of like really intricate like painting and stuff. But it could have been someone completely different. I don't remember. Sorry. But yeah, I like the blueberry waffle pattern. I think it's kind of cool with a self-striping yarn, and this one also isn't just like a traditional the same width of stripes all the way through. It has all these different width of stripes, so I think that's really cool. It makes it look very interesting and fun. So that's how far I've got on the first sock. I haven't worked on it in a bit because I've been kind of obsessed with this sweater, because I have not knit that many sweaters so far this year. I've only knit 2, and it is July. It's a very low amount of sweaters for me. I knit the DRK Everyday sweater and the Avondale tee. And that's it. That's all I've made as far as sweater goes. Like I said, I'm working on the Warm Breeze. I've got some work that I did on the Arachne sweater, and I'm working on this one. I do want to have this one done for Rhinebeck. I think it would be a good one to wear to Cake Palooza because Sinful Yarns will be there. She'll be vending, so I'd like to show her the sweater and maybe get a picture, because I think that's fun to do, so that the yarn dyers can see that we're making things that we love with their creations. I know if I were an artist, I would love to see that, so I try to share that with them. Okay, so that's that. And then I've also been trying to work on my blanket because I would like to finish it this year. And right now, Hannah from the Corner of Craft is hosting the Advents of December's Past make along, and it's basically just like knit a project with your Advent yarn from before 2025. I think you might be able to do 2025s also, but the idea is just that you use your Advent yarn before your next Advent comes. So this is the Scrap Witchery blanket by Lindsay Schankirchner, who is Sock Witchery. So tangled up, I'm sorry. So I'm using the Chromatic Yarns Advent calendar from, I think, 2 years ago. It is the Muppet Christmas Carol one. And I'm holding it double with some undyed Knit Picks Fleechy. And I'm just doing until I run out of each mini. They're 20 gram minis, so there's a lot. And that's how far I am. And I really like it. I have taken a couple naps with it, but it's not long enough. So it basically, like if I put it on my toes or over my feet, it comes up to my waist. So there's plenty more to go for it to be what I think of as a good size throw or a couch blanket, because I like it to cover me completely, like up to my chin. I'd want it to be. So I'm planning to knit the entire Advent minus the full skein. I'll probably use the full skein for something else. It was a really nice blue, I think. It was like a navy-ish blue. So this is how much I have left, which is basically another 100 grams. I think I have, let's see, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors left. And this is how much I have left of the undyed Fleechy from this cake. But I have 2 more hanks, I think, of yarn. So I have plenty. I'm using a fingering weight. They're fingering weight held double. And I believe I'm knitting it on an 8, a 7, size 7, 4.5 millimeter needles. And I've got these cute little point protectors because it does sometimes come off of the needles. But these remind me of Calcifer from Howl's Moving Castle. I love them. So anyway, it is a half fisherman's rib. Half fisherman's rib or fisherman's rib? I don't know. You brioche on one side and, no, you don't even brioche. You do like this weird thing. Anyway, I feel like it's half fisherman's rib is what Lindsay said. But it's very fun. If I drop a stitch though, it is a disaster. I just have to like frog down to where I can understand it. I've only had to do that twice so far, but I did lose a lot of progress both times. So I'm just very careful. But I'm trying to like put in a couple of rows every night. There's 300 some odd stitches, so it's a lot to get across and back one row. So I will probably do that when I finish recording. That's that guy. And then that's basically it for knitting. No, it's not. I've got one more project. Sorry, this pillow is also sort of in my way. It's a good backrest though. The other thing I've been working on is my Felici socks in the Elf colorway. I finished the first one and I found these socks during my whip deep dive because I thought they were in a different bag, and they are not. They are in this Halloween bag. I thought they were in a Christmas bag. So I really thought this was the Midwest Nice socks, so I had not been touching them because I was like, no, I have other socks that are further along. I don't want to knit those Midwest Nice socks until I finish one of my other pairs, and then I can move over to them. Because I have a couple that have a sock done, and I kind of feel bad if I get like multiple pairs that have one sock done, because I totally could have knit a pair of socks. Yeah, so I am doing, like, when I get to the next stripe color, I just do a slip one, knit one pattern all the way around. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I just start slip one, knit one when the color changes. This is a Little Bitty Delights pattern, Progress Keeper. It is a peppermint mocha. So yeah, I've gotten pretty far on the second leg. And it's funny because my first one, you can see that like the red stripe was shorter by 2 rows. And I thought, oh no, they're not gonna match. But then this green stripe was actually bigger by 2 rows. So it actually works out. And the rest of the leg is gonna be fine. And then on the heel, I used Molly Girl yarns, and it's kind of a bright green with sparkles, and I believe it is UV reactive yarn, so that's fun. That is truly all that I've been working on for knitting. Then cross stitch, I've been working on 2 things. So the first one is my Halloween wreath, and this is by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I put it into a big Q-snap so that I could work on the other side of the wreath, because I'm kind of going in clue order-ish. But it doesn't quite show because this clue is done, so you can't see the edge of it, but it's done all the way up to the top of the potion bottle. I just have to go and do back stitch. So I need to back stitch all the eyes and put the mouths on. These 3 have mouths. Yeah, it's really cute. And then there's back stitching on the door. The stained glass has back stitching on it. And I think these bricks are also back stitched. And then I started over here. So this is kind of a candelabra. You can see the shape of the candle. It's a white candle, so I have done it, but I haven't done the flame. And then this pumpkin doesn't have any eyes. Could have been best friend, Ducky. Could have been best friends, Ducky, but you don't have any eyes. Yeah, so I think it has 3 little globes. They remind me of peas. I don't know why. Like the peas you would eat. It just looks like a pea to me. I don't know. So anyway, I'm glad I have a bigger Q-snap now. I ordered a few of these from 123 Stitch because I only had this one, which I didn't even know I had. I thought I only had all small ones, and then when I was putting together pieces, because I got them all from my friend Andrea. She basically like purged all her Q-snaps. I don't know, I feel like she said she didn't like them, so maybe she's using a different kind of hoop. And I don't know if you use scroll frames too, Andrea, but anyway, she gave me some Q-snaps, and so I thought they were all the smaller ones, like the squares. And I have another one I can show you because I have it in a square. But when I was going to look, like cleaning up my cross-stitch stuff, I realized I put this one together and I was like, oh, that's a big one. So I was using this for my pumpkin latte nights, which I'll show you next. But it's actually kind of smaller than I thought it was going to be. So I flipped them. So now this one is in the bigger Q-snap, which is fine. Go in there. Okay. And I think maybe at Rhinebeck this year, I'm going to try to see if they've got any cross-stitch project bag makers. I think they might have some cross-stitch bags, like the ones that have the clear window so you can see what's in there. Those might be fun to get a couple of. Okay. I'll show you these because I have to move them to show you the next thing. So these are these cool little kind of fabric minders that I found on Etsy. But they have like a stretchy string on them and then very, very strong magnets. And you basically like clip it on either side of your fabric, and then you can spread these out, and it keeps all your rolled up fabric like tidy. And you know, so I can kind of do it on the sides so I don't have these big wads of fabric, and I can reach underneath to stitch. So those were nice. I was excited about that. I saw some people have them that are like rubber or plastic, but I didn't want to get plastic. So this woman, like, she makes them. And they're nice. So they are metal with elastic cord. Anyway, this is in my frame, or whatever, my desk stand, my nerd stand. So this is the Pumpkin Latte Nights by Letty Stitch. So I've got my ghost quite a bit of the way done. His eyes are actually like a dark blue in this filled in part, but I just did the light blue because I did other parts of the light blue. I kind of like that it looks like he's rolling his eyes or being like, oh, give me strength. I've done some of the pumpkin down at the bottom, and I did his mug, and basically I got out to the edge of the picture. Oh my god. Pier time. So I got out to the edge of the fabric. So this is the edge of the design right here. So there's like a curtain that comes down, and then it's here, and it's kind of sheer so you can see the buildings and stuff through it, but it changes the coloring of them. So you can see some of that effect on the pumpkin because it's going to be a pink curtain. So that's why the pumpkin is kind of pinkish here. So it's very much kind of a sunset time for this picture. So there are buildings behind him. So I've just been filling in like where there's large blocks of color and slowly, you know, adding to the piece. Yeah, but this is only page 1. I have not worked page 2 at all, except for this one row of stitches here on the edge, this blue row of stitches here. And that's because the center of the piece was like right in the middle of this blue. So I anchored it kind of on both pages so that I'd be able to move to the second page to stitch. But I really wanted to stitch the ghost. just to give myself some motivation so I could really see like the piece coming together. So I stitched them first, and a little bit of this, because this color, or this set of colors that's in the mug, is not in very many places in the picture. I think this brown from the coffee, that's it. That's all the stitches of the brown. So yeah, then on the other side, there's like this little set of candles and stuff. And that's the only other place where those colors are. Yeah, I think that's all I have to share in terms of knitting and cross stitch. Another thing I did is, while I was doing my whips, I sat down and I was like, you know, I have all these great ideas for stash, and when I buy yarn, I have a plan and I think of what it would be good to use it for, or when I go back through my stash, often I have ideas of, oh, I should use that to make this thing, but then I forget about it. So I thought, I'm going to kind of look around in my stash and write down yarn pattern combos and put them in a jar. And then whenever I feel like casting something on, I will draw from that jar. Now, I'm pretty sure these are all sweaters. I'm 99% sure they're all sweaters, except for I think there might be a thing in here for the, what's it called? The doodle deck that has like Halloween stuff. I don't think it's called Halloween Doodle though. It's not the spooky doodle. Anyway, it's the one that has like crystal balls and a haunted mansion and all that stuff. And Yarnaceous Fibers made a sample of it that I loved so much. And she was selling kits last year at Cakepalooza, and I bought one. So I think that's in here to make that particular doodle. We'll call it spooky doodle because I don't remember, but to use that kit. So I think that's the only thing in here that's not a sweater. Oh, I'm so tempted right now, so tempted. But anyway, I spent like a good afternoon just like enjoying my stash and having ideas and like writing things down. And I've seen a lot of people have like electronic wheels on their phone of like, oh, I can spin and see what thing I'm gonna cast on or what I'm gonna start and cross stitch and whatever. And I was like, I want to do that, but I don't want the electronic side of it. I want like the tactile feel of little bits of paper and drawing things. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw one right now and do it. Okay. Let's do it. We'll do it together. Okay. So on this piece of paper, it says, oh, this is perfect. Okay, so it says the Camaro sweater with an advent and a solid color. I think the Camaro sweater is by Tanis Fiber Arts. Pretty sure. I own the pattern. I also went through my Ravelry library / all of these pattern books and magazines and like looked at patterns I had purchased but had not yet knit, because I was like, I buy so many patterns, or I have bought so many patterns in the past, and I have books and all kinds of stuff, and I should try to use those, but sometimes I forget what I have because there's always an Ooh Shiny and everybody's knitting the Ooh Shiny. But I also want to remember that something once was an Ooh Shiny that isn't an Ooh Shiny anymore, but it's still going to be new to me. So I did that as well. So that's what I was kind of trying to do with this thing. So yay, that's going to be so fun. And that will fit in perfectly with the Advents of December's Past make along. And by the way, like, Hannah said you don't actually have to have a true, like an advent that a dyer put together. You can make your own advent, or you just grab mini skeins and participate. The idea is that you're doing something that uses like minis, and that's it. Or I guess in the case of an advent, if you've got an advent that has like 4 full skeins, because I have some from Gabby that are like 4 or 5 full skeins, those would count as well, of course. So, ooh, that's actually a really good idea. I could make one with the, it was an advent with nectar, but when she did, like she always does releasing her advents in July-ish, that she'll dye the advent colors from the prior year's advent, so you can order them, and then she switches over to India Tangled Show Prep and then dyeing advents. So yeah, I had ordered an additional bundle of the green, so that would be a really good base color, and then I could actually do it in all that advent. That advent was really pretty. It was 4 full skeins with 2 minis each. What was that? Okay, I'm gonna pause and I will go get what I'm talking about. Okay, so this was the advent. I bought an extra set of these. So I have 2 skeins of this green, which could be the main body of the sweater. And I also could continue the motif. So it, the Camaro sweater basically has a V-neck, and then the stripes kind of go down the front. It's very 70s or early 80s, when you saw a lot of 70s influence on the clothes. Yeah, it reminds me of Charlie's Angels. Something Charlie's Angels would wear. Okay, so this one is Fresh Branches for Cleansing and Prosperity on Nectar. So it's this green with warm cinnamon brown and a dark charcoal. Then another skein in that was the Dried Citrus for Purification and Love. So that one is, it's got so much fur in it. This orange with this color that's kind of a gold and orange, and this one is like a cornflower blue. Then this was like my favorite set. So this is Candied Flowers for Peace and Happiness. So it had this mauvey pink, this purple, and this green. I obviously would throw out the green because I would already have a green, so I wouldn't want to stripe that in. But the last one is Moonwater for Serenity and Embracing Change. And so this has like an orange. It's been in my bottom basket of these baskets, and so it gets like brushed by the dogs a lot because it's at dog height. So this one has a grayish green color, blue, and then orange. So, you know, like I could do some stripes of each of them. Try, like I said, to do the main body of the sweater in the green, and then maybe stripy sleeves too, not solid sleeves. That could be fun. But yeah, that would be the color palette. I think that could be good because this one's been sitting in my stash for a little while, and I kind of was scratching my head on what to do with it, but I knew that I wanted to kind of work them together. There are some colors I think I would have to take out because they're very close to each other, or Maybe some would just be on the sleeves because they'd be very complimentary. But yeah, I think that would be the body of the sweater because it kind of goes with all of them, that greeny color. Yeah, I love this plan. I love this plan. So yeah. Okay, maybe I will cast that on next week. Because this weekend, my in-laws are coming to visit Sunday through Tuesday. So I'm taking off Monday and Tuesday. And then Saturday, obviously, I'm going to be cleaning the house to get ready for their visit. And because they're not here for very long, I expect it to be like pretty intense doing stuff to make the most of the time that they're here. So I probably will not be casting on anything, but maybe that following week. I have had 2 people leave my team at work, so we're working on getting replacements for them, but that obviously means we're really short-handed. So I was going to take that entire week off and just spend some time like knitting and enjoying the summer, but alas, that is not to be. So I will just take my 2 days and we will go from there. That's okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to take off some time in August. Hopefully. Before the chaos ensues of budget season and stuff. And inventory. Oh my gosh. Hubble was licking his feet, but he's over where I haven't vacuumed, so he has this giant like thing of fur hanging off his mouth right now. Okay. Very good. Just remind me. Don't let me forget. Put this away soon. And I did go to Goodwill. I found a bunch of CDs. And I also found this game, this board game, called A Place for All My Books. Have any of you played it? It is supposed to be a cozy game of gathering, organizing, and admiring good books. So you have like a little apartment, I think. You arrange stacks of books in different rooms of their apartment as personal projects. Then spend the social battery to brave heading out into the village to pick up more books. It's really cute. I've only looked at like all the game pieces, but it's really cute. And you can also play single player. So you can play it by yourself just for fun, which is awesome. And I only paid $5.99 for it. Plus I got, I think, 10 or 15% off for signing up for Goodwill coupons, which I'm like, really? You give coupons on very low price stuff? But apparently they do in Connecticut. Yeah, so I think I maybe paid like $3 for it, which is pretty great. And I also found a sweater for me, a sweatshirt, a Hello Kitty and Friends sweatshirt for Megs, and a May the 4th be with you t-shirt for Joshua. So it's a pretty good run. Yeah. I also found like a math book. Did I get this from Goodwill? I can't remember if I got this from Goodwill or not. Wealth of Nations. I've read it cover to cover before. I read it in one of my advanced econ courses in college. So I used to do note-taking for people with disabilities. So it was really pre like when everybody had a computer and everything. So I went to classes with the person that I was helping, and I believe they were hearing impaired. So they could hear, but not super well. So they had partial hearing, and so I took notes for them. and I got to take a bunch of 600 level econ courses, which was amazing. It was so fun, for free, because I was getting paid to take notes. So yeah, I basically got to take them for free. So I've taken quite a few advanced econ classes. I did not get credit for them, but I did take them. And I also, like, kind of sort of have an econ minor. But anyway, I've read Wealth of Nations cover to cover, and I've also listened to it as an audiobook. But my copy of Wealth of Nations was destroyed in one of the floods of our basement in our old house. So yeah, I got this for like $1. But I was like, oh, I should have that. And lots of people misquote it. There is a huge section on like social welfare programs and charity and basically taking care of people, and it also tells you to pay your finance people appropriately because they need to be incentivized to be honest. Just saying. So that is basically all I have. No, I do have a trogdor pin that I got with my trogdor shirt. I used to have one of these. Again, I lost it in one of the moves. I don't remember which one. Probably the cross-country move. And I got Strong Bad Sings and Other Type Hits on vinyl from Fangamer. It is as amazing as I said. The only missing thing is that it doesn't have secret songs. So if you bought the CD a long time ago, which we had it and it got stolen, it had an extra song that Homestar Runner sang called Secret Song. And I'm sad that that's not on the LP, but it's fine. It's really good to have it on vinyl. Yeah, so I'm going to leave you guys there. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all get some time to do the things that you love, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.